but this seminar will give them an opportunity to address the challenges, to tap on opportunities. Connectivity is the basic element of this, the freelancing services and share services. With the given new normal, as Janzeb said, the requirement of utilization of technology and connectivity is even further increased. So I thank you all the speakers for sparing their time. Today we have our distinguished keynote speaker, Ms. Fawzia Safdar, Consulting Lead KC Chapter Hussain Chaudhary, Adnan Hamid Kokar, Managing Partner Adnan Hamid Kokar & Co. And then the panelist, Malik Harun Hamid Saab, Managing Partner Malik Harun Shahid Safdar & Co. Naseem Akbar Saab, Office Managing Partner, Mazars MF, and they'll be followed by closing remarks from Ali Latif. So sparing time at this Ramzan with the less energy, we're expecting a much participated and interactive session. So I again thank you all for sparing your time and sharing your valuable ideas. I hope it will be much useful in our practical life in growing and contributing to the economy in our profession. So thank you very much, Rafka Saab, and over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Saab. Thank you, Shah Saab. Dear members, in recent times, everyone is talking about freelancing, and accountants are not the exceptions. Freelance accountants perform the same services likewise under the employment contract, except for a few additional tasks. The pandemic has paced up the ongoing social and economic changes like remote working and online collaboration across all professions. The accountants now have opportunity to readjust themselves to the post-pandemic world, showing willingness to operate in lean and smart physical setup, working remotely, and collaboration via video conferencing and shared documents in the clouds. As we talk about the opportunity, we also have some questions in mind, like how freelancing and shared services would make a difference for practicing members and finance professionals at the start of their career. How can the confidentiality of client information be maintained? How virtual teams can be managed? And especially the marketing element, which I'm sure our VP sir will shed light on that. To discuss all that, we have invited very eminent keynote speaker, Fawzia Safdar Khan. Just a brief introduction of Fawzia. She is a fellow member of ICAP. She is presently serving as consultant quality control at Pro, and she is an active alumni of University of Leicester, UK, and pursuing MBA in marketing. She holds a certification in blockchain strategy and regulations, IT project management from the University of Oxford, UK. Now I request Fawzia for her keynote address. Fawzia, over to you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. And above that, Ramadan Kareem to everybody. I pray that everybody be safe and have a very healthy Ramadan. It is really a very much important time post-pandemic when the accountants, not only the accountants, actually all the professions are affected, and they are having laydowns and they are losing their jobs, or they are demotivated or cost cutting. So in nutshell, if I will say, pandemic has given some good things that we become careful with our health, but it has affected professionally to everybody. And it has given us a new norm, and we start working from home. We start working internationally. There are no boundaries, there are no distances. And let me start my presentation. Give me a second and my presentation will be here. So today's topic is freelancing and shared services. I'm sure everybody knows that what freelancing is, but we will definitely look at it. Our overall session today is that what is the scope of freelancing in Pakistan? What are the target skill set? What the infrastructure any freelancer need? What are the building blocks, platforms, marketing, how to grow, and the best practices? As my introduction is given by two of our esteemed members, so I will just remove this slide. So what is the main idea of freelancing and shared services? Freelancing is one thing. I will just give one statement. I am boss of myself. So I am the employer and I am the employee. I have to report myself. So before that, I will go for a globalization and outsourcing concept. I'm very much sure that after this internet connectivity, having the smart applications, everybody know that we can globally connect it with anybody irrespective of our boundaries. We don't need passports, we don't need permissions, and we can have a communication and connection wherever the world we want. Outsourcing is not a new concept. It's a concept which is like much old. And outsourcing is something when organizations want to have a cost cutting, or they want that they should have services of experienced people, or most important thing, which is also is a scope of freelancing, when an organization or an employer want to stress on the three key strategies, and the rest which are not the key functions he wants to outsource, so he can give more energy and more sources to the important functions of his organization. So here is a very brief difference between freelancing and shared services. Freelancing, as I told you, is the employer of his own, and shared services, the only difference is it's a business corporation, it's a legal entity. If we go for the agreement, freelancing can be done with any working agreement, but shared services, we have to have a local legal contract, I'm sorry. Regarding the payment, which is the gist of all the services, because we render services, so we can get some reward in return. So for payments, normally freelancing, you receive the payment once you are done with all the requirements of your client and you deliver your project or the assignment. Whereas shared services are concerned, because it's a legal contract, there you can make your payment according to installments or after covering some milestones, and you can have, installment payments. Before I will jump into the freelancing, that what it is, why we do, and how we do, I just want to discuss a few pros and cons. Definitely, if I am the employer, I am the boss of myself, I will be having flexibility. I can schedule my work according to my easy timing. I will be having freedom with whom I want to work, what project I want to take. The third very important pros I want to discuss here, that is the unlimited potential, which is the problem nowadays employees are facing globally. That is, they have a limited growth. At one stage, they think that their growth is somewhere stopped. They are not growing by their profession, by their knowledge, or by their status. So this is a platform, this is a profession where you can have unlimited profession, how much skill you want to earn, how much you want to explore your energies, and how much you want to explore. Regarding the cons, yeah, but I will suggest you don't look at the cons at this moment. We will discuss this later, because these are the cons just in the beginning of the freelancing. It's not with only with the freelancing, it is with any entrepreneur. When we start any business or any service, there are few years which are our relaxing years, in which we expect that we will just build up our status, our reputation, and then we start getting the return. It's not only with the services. If we give an innovative product, it takes time for the client to accept that, and then it's famous everywhere. It depends what your innovative idea is. So before we go to the freelancing, I just want you to see what is the scope of freelancing in Pakistan. There is a survey done by Payoneer. Payoneer is the payment platform used globally. They have seen from the start of the pandemic last year, how was the growth of freelancing payments received by the freelancers. If you have seen March 2020, when the pandemic eventually started and spreading everywhere, globally it affected freelancing as well. We are at the moment saying that pandemic is affecting everything. Freelancing is maybe safe from it, but if we have seen on this graph, you will see that even freelancing is not the exception. It get affected in March, April, May globally. Likewise, in Pakistan, it affected the same. But in June, there was a big surge. Globally, it rise by 28%, and in Pakistan, it rise by 47%. So what happened? When people see that it become really, really expensive to have more employees, so they cut down the employees cost, they try to cut down their cost, but they have to continue their businesses. So they start searching for the services which they can get on a cheaper price as compared to what they are getting in their own country, and they start searching for the expert advices, expert services, and there the freelancers comes and they start using this opportunity. Freelancing market size, on the base of the index, if we see that it has a big index, but at the moment currently, according to that's the latest actually the source we get, Pakistan is at 8th number. I will just add here that 3 years back, Pakistan was at 4th number, but with more people's more countries diving and utilizing this opportunity, Pakistan comes to at 8th number. So we still have a big opportunity that we can work and we can raise our potential and use this index. Yeah, I'm sure being accountant, being software engineers or creative media, we will be like looking at what is the margin, how much we are using our services. So according to the Oxford University, they did a research in 2019 to 2020. They see that profession-wise, this is the one graph which comes in the result of that survey. Pakistan, if we will look at the Pakistan, professionally, we are just using a small gap, small part of this freelancing market. But if we see globally, all are very less here. So this is a new norm after pandemic that accountant, professionals, lawyers, all the professional services, we can come up and we can digitize our services. We can start looking at our international clients and our work, how we can explore outside of Pakistan and even in the Pakistan. So locally and internationally. So the question I'm sure here will be, oh, what skill set I should have, what I have to do. I don't know what to do. I don't have, I just know accountancy. I'm just a lawyer. So what to do? So no need to get worried. No freelancer has 100% skill set for all the departments. According to a survey, a successful skill set required by any freelancer, irrespective of any profession. He just know 40% of the networking skill. I am sure using Facebook, Instagram, and websites, we already have an handsome skill knowledge of networking. Then 35% of marketing, 33% of financial management, and so on. I just want you to have a look at it, and your fear should go that, oh, what the skill set required. So it's just, you should know a bit basic knowledge of all these departments, because all these departments will help you to deliver your service in an effective manner. Here comes a very specific slide for accountants, for us. These are the services which we usually give in our employment contracts. Likewise, these services we can give under freelancers. We can manage payroll, we can manage tax planning, we can manage company formation, and so on. So here comes, okay, I come to know that I am an accountant or I am a lawyer or any other profession. I should have this basic knowledge. Now, should I need to rent a big building? I should have employees. I should have a big infrastructure. So the answer is no. We just need a good up-to-date desktop or laptop with some good softwares which will help us to deliver our services. Here, for your convenience, I have given some top used accounting applications which will help you to deliver your services, accounting services. I'm sure everybody is very, very much comfortable with QuickBooks, but there is now one QuickBook for clouds, Xerox, Wave. Here, I want to mention one thing for your, if you will go and Google these applications, you will have detail of all, but for your convenience, I have given that this is covering everything what accounting services can give. It's consulting, it's reporting, it's financial statements, it's invoice, it's bills, receipts, debtors, creditors, everything you can manage through these accounting projects. You just need the subscription and you can start. Here, I want to mention one thing which is connected with my presentation onward, that is Wave. Wave is one particular application which is very much useful for the startups when you are giving the services for the startups. Because as freelancer, I will mention here one thing, that startup is something where your scope is maximum, because they cannot afford a big accounting function at their place. So they need to outsource or freelance their services. Okay, I'm sure you will be surprised. Oh, cloud computing. Why it's a cloud computing here? I'm a freelancer. I want to give services to local clients and to international clients. So I cannot afford that somebody will be giving you data at your desk or sending you big emails. Emails have a limited capacity of sending the data. It is taking time and stuff. So cloud computing is actually the future of accounting industry. Just to remove you from the IT hassles and sorry, just to finish the IT hassles and databases and big databases, data securities and other issues, there is cloud computing, and it's a very good innovation that I want to discuss a little further, because this is something which is part of your infrastructure. Cloud computing, I want to mention here one thing that is very important. Companies that rely solely on cloud accounting have 5 times the number of the customers than businesses that don't have cloud accounting. And if we see the stats, that 67% accounting professionals are already preferring cloud accounting, and 90% is saying that this is the future. And if I will talk about globally, internationally, almost all the organizations, as individuals, small, medium, or large enterprises, they already shifted to the cloud computing. That is a benefit for freelancers, because they can easily access their data and they can start working without delaying. There are some features I want to discuss with you, because maybe you have the question that, is it safe to use the cloud accounting? What about the database, backup files? So I have given you just a glimpse here that it's excellent in security. They give you all these features. You can work remotely. You can have a better client relationship because you are addressing their questions, their queries on time, remotely, without delaying, and you can access their data remotely and you can give your analysis. Remote audit. This I added here. It's not the infrastructure. This is a solely new concept, which is not too much famous in Pakistan, but it's very much famous internationally, especially post-pandemic, because it became difficult for everybody to go in person and conduct the audits, but everybody has to give their financial statements, audited financial statements, their reporting. So there was some, you can say, the relaxation for the dates and delivering of their financial statements, but audit has to be there. So what is happening, that auditor, which is our specialty, we also start working virtually. We have virtual, if we see all the stages, it's virtual planning, it's virtual scheduling, it's communication for logistics. Every part of the audit, which is from planning to execution to the reporting and the payment, everything is done remotely and virtually. So this is something which is the future as well, because if this pandemic will continue with mild or stronger vibes, we have to shift sooner or later on this thing. I'm sure here you will be questioning, a question come to your mind, what about the stock take? How we will do? So guys, they are the smart applications. You can have a scheduled meeting with your client that, okay, we will be having a video call to you and your employee will do the stock count with us. So if you guys are really interested in remote audit, just request ICAP and they can plan a detailed workshop on this. Now jump to the freelancing. So up till now, we just see that what infrastructure we need. We just need a few subscriptions. We need a good system. We need good internet and our own home and your skills. Here is the roadmap. Now I have all the equipments ready. I have made the plan that I need this, and I have my dedicated room where I'm going to start my freelancing. Now the planning start, which is the part of freelancing. Don't think that freelancing is something that you decide today and tomorrow you can start. Because like every other business, this service enterprise also need planning, proper planning. Because if you will jump into the freelancing platform or freelancing business without having any planning, you will be somewhere lost, or you will just get failed. So first is the SWOT analysis, your own SWOT analysis. What are your strength skills? What are your weaknesses? What your opportunities are, and what your threats are? So we already know our skills. We will just jot down our skills. But regarding weaknesses and opportunities, we have to work on the weaknesses to avail those opportunities, and we have to be careful to stay safe from the threats. So what about the marketing research? What services are in demand? Okay, this is my skill set, and what my skills or services are in demand. What I am confident about, you have to research about that. Market segmentation, you have to segment your market. You are going to cover first locally, okay, stay locally. Now for locally, market segmentation can be, if you want to go for individuals, startups, charitable organizations, you have to make a segment, because if you will try to jump the whole market, you will be lost somewhere. After that, you will be targeting your market. And here I want to mention, if you want to think about global, like I want to work with US, then you have to target there that which segment you want to be. Then education training, definitely, if you think that, okay, these services are in demand, like analytics are in demand or reporting is in demand, I just need to fix a few skill set. I have to improve. This is the time when you will just have a few tutorials. YouTube is a big source of education now. Udemy is a source. Coursera is a source. So sources are there which you can use at your home, at your time. Then you have to make your marketing strategy. Your timely responsiveness is the key for your success. If your client is asking you any question and you are not available online to respond to that question, don't expect that you can get that project and he will wait for 4 and 5 hours, then you will respond and then. So your timely responses is the key factor for your getting the first client or growing your client. After the getting the first client is the timely delivery. Everybody will be thinking that I will give my quality service, I will give best services, and I will win that client. But if you did not deliver your service on time, client will not look at your work. So two factors we have seen, that timely responsiveness and timely delivery, and your customer base will grow. After having this roadmap, you will jot down all these things, and now we will discuss these all things turn by turn. We will identify, by market segmentation, we will identify our ideal clients. For the beginners, as I learned from one of my mentor, the best client is your own family, then distant family, then your friends circle, then your office network, your ex-employer, where you have done your articles, your friends, your colleagues, where they are working somewhere else. So if you will start thinking and searching and making a network that where I have identity and where I can ask that I'm going to use this freelancing service, you can just mark and shortlist that you are going to inform them. After that, you have to choose what services you want to offer. Fourth one, this is the most important thing which I am stressing you. Make your business plan, what you are planning, what you want to achieve after 5 years, because nothing you can get in 1 minute on the first day. marketing strategy, pricing strategy. You have to make your web page. You have to make your office, home office, a structured daily schedule, and implement everything. Now, as I told you that your own friend can be your first client. So use your personal, I'm talking about a freelancer who has not started anything properly, like you are starting looking at your opportunities which are near to you in your network. So you will check your personal network to get your first client. Show your passion to that client by solving his problem, definitely for free first, then build an online portfolio for yourself. And just give me a minute. I have to minimize this. So build on an online portfolio for yourself, contribute to the open source projects around you. Here, I want to share one thing that check which websites or which bloggers accept free contribution and who are famous and who want that where you can write for free and where you can get the recognition. This is a cold marketing strategy where you are just getting an identification, where you are just telling that, okay, I am having these skills, I have this knowledge, I have this expertise. Contribute articles and tutorials. This is all pre-planning. This is all the steps which we are using to create a clientele, to start a clientele. Now, the very important thing, building the clientele. You have the clarity on what you are going to offer out of your skills. It helps you to prioritize your services. Probably I want to stress on reporting, or I want to do the analytics, or I want to do the business modeling, which is much, much in demand. These things and analysis and business modeling, these are much demanding things. And the expertise of these things are a bit scarce. So you have to identify your customer. You have to understand your customer. That is very important. What he is really looking forward, where you have to reach, what he's asking about. Then after listening what he wants, you have to prepare your product or services, make it available, and then get the feedback from your customer and try to make that customer as your new opportunity. So back to Pakistan. Definitely, if one person is switching from his job to freelancing, the first opportunity cost will be his salary, what he's getting. So for your convenience, I have given an survey or an analysis what the average accountant or chartered accountant is getting. So it's 137,000 plus. But in comparison, a good freelancer, not in the first, I'm not committing it from the first day or from the very first year, but on average, he is getting 112,000 Pak rupees. So this is the opportunity cost, which will help us when we will be making our pricing strategy, because this opportunity cost you have to get when you are doing the freelancing, not in the starting months, but later your expectation will be that I should at least get this salary and then over and above what I am doing. So here comes the pricing strategy. When any client meets you and he asks you that I need this service, or you win a client and he's asking about the pricing, that is the most important thing. Either you will lose the client or you will retain the client, depending what your pricing strategy is. So these are different scenarios. I just discuss one by one. If your project scope is loosely defined, like you don't know how many hours it will take, then it will be your hourly pricing. If it is your project which is stage by stage, so it's monthly retainers. Fixed fee is applicable when its project scope is well defined. Value-based pricing is for experienced freelancers. They can use their brand value and they can charge their pricing. Performance-based is large businesses who are confident of the outcome of their work. And industry practices. For the beginners, I will stress more For the beginners, and in first few years, I will more stress on industry practices. We should have a knowledge. Now, this is the time when we will start making working. We should have a working what the service I'm giving, what this service is charges, and what is the maximum charge people are having, and what is the minimum. As the beginner, we have to stay somewhere in between, because if we will charge very low, even then we are losing the client, because his expectation will be that maybe the services are not up to the quality. So here is an online portfolio. I just give you as a template here. So I just want to mention here one thing, that this person is in US, and in US it's, I just open my pointer. So he's in US, and he's currently there midnight, and he is online. So this is something which is very, very, very important, that which market you are addressing, and are you available there to check the biddings, to check your clients, or to respond about any query, or to give open source recommendations, or whatever you want to do there. If you have seen that he mentioned here what how many jobs he completed, on budget, on time. So these are the three elements which are very important. And he has given what the skills are, his software skills. And in the last paragraph, he is convincing that he has the habit or addiction of giving quality work. He loves to do research. He wants to learn more and more to give innovative services to his clients to solve all their services. Here, I want to mention this 5-star. Normally, these 5 stars are earned by any freelancer that I will mention later. So question will be, अब मैं क्या करूं? What I should do? That how to create a portfolio? Is it a CV? Is it a resume? Is it a one-pager, or this or that? So for your convenience, I have given you the available tools here. There are few free sources and few paid sources. Definitely, if there's paid sources, there are extra features. But my recommendation for the beginners are to jump to the free sources, because for any enterprise, or for any new business, or any startup, it is important to keep your fixed cost at minimum as per the requirement, and match it with your revenue. When you start getting the revenue, and that revenue can source your fixed assets or fixed expenditures, that is the time when you can think about that. So most popular here is the wordprocess.com. So this is something where you will just put your information, just like you do if you guys have used LinkedIn, or if you use Instagram, or social media websites. You give your informations, and your a small brief profile is there. So you will just put your information, and he will give, this website or any other website will give you, I'm sorry, a good portfolio design, which you can modify or customize according to your need. So you can have a look, and let's move. Okay, so again and again, guys, I am talking about platforms. So kahan pe, where I have to start my freelancing? I am at home. I don't know about the clients. I don't have big networking. I maybe the people are far away from me. They are busy. They are not responding. My friends are don't need my freelancing services. So what to do? I want to start my work. This is the answer of that question, that there are freelancing platforms, and top freelancing platforms for accountants are Upwork, Freelancer, Fiverr, 99 Desire. Guru is very famous globally. It's giving one of our very famous Mr. Server. He is one of the best freelancer here. You can go and check on the YouTube. He is also, he was working on Guru, and he learned everything from there. So if we will see that these are the platforms, and all platforms are definitely having some subscription fee to give you services, but you will get a clientele there. You don't need to search the clients. I have given an analysis of the top 3 platforms here. Fiverr is the one where it's a bit expensive. So I will jump to the Upwork. Upwork is getting 20% in the first year, and then it start getting 10% for whatever you have earned. Yeah, it seems to be too much fee, but just imagine that you don't need to reach the client. Your client database is there, and you are getting, if you are getting good job there, a highly paid jobs there, then this small 20%, 10% will not give you a pain. And this is the platform, a famous platform where the professional services are more in demand and the clients are of good quality. Here, I will recommend you one thing. I'm sure you guys will be thinking about there will be some, maybe wrong clients, payments are not done or something. So I will suggest here, if you will get a client here, go and search about the history of that client, that how his relations were before, how he was with the payments. So you can have a bit idea after searching on the same platform or otherwise. Freelancer is also one of the platform. Here I want to mention Fiverr. Fiverr, mostly millennials are there. It's a very, our new chartered accountants can use this easily, because here the people expectation are that these guys will give innovative services. They will give very, innovative ideas. And here normally the pricing are $5 and $4, and but you can have a big number of projects there. So how this freelance platform work? I will just give you a quick review here. You have to sign up your site, create an attractive portfolio. I have given you the tools where you can create the portfolio. You don't need to spend a lot of time. After creating the portfolio, you have to search the project according to your skill set. After getting the project, you have to start bidding. If your bidding will be accepted, you will start getting your communication with the client. After getting communicated and everything is settled, you will set up a contract on an agreement. Then your progress will be start tracking by the platform, by the client, and you will definitely giving the communication. And you will be get paid, and then you can withdraw your money. This is the overall picture how a freelance platform work. But don't think it's so easy. You have to be very much conscious about your portfolio and your bidding. These are two things, and I will add here the communication also. These three things are the key success factors that either you will win or you can make that opportunity as your lead. Now comes freelancing service marketing. Okay, I have registered myself to the platform, but I'm not getting a lot of clients there. I need work. I have to do my everyday expense, my internet charges, my electricity bills, my house rentals. So what I do? So start marketing your services. Start asking for the referrals from your ex-employer, from your colleagues on your website. Launch your website, build a client relationship by solving their problems free, and jumping into what problems they are trying to understand, what problems they are facing. And this is the right time we can use this. Pandemic is the right time, because everywhere there is one thing which is very much important: cost cutting. Because revenues are not likewise, businesses are not likewise as before, so everybody is stressing about the cost cutting. Send the cold emails, build a network, social media, write for yourself by blogging, word of mouth advertising. You can have on WhatsApp groups. Here, my suggestion is try Facebook. Facebook has communities, freelancing communities. Just join there, start writing there, start showing your skills there, start having your relationship there with the community, and I am sure you can start getting your work. So this is the one free advice here, that Facebook is free. You can get community there. You just have to search and you will get something. It's not costing you something. It's just improving your skills, or it's improving your research skills. So just go for it. Yeah, the cons which I mentioned that I will discuss later is the major challenges. So major challenges are irregular income, difficult client, competitive industry, low income, work in isolation, hard to discipline, perception of freelancing, different time zone, delayed payments or no payments. It's not real. If we have a good search of a client, we can avoid this. Lack of office environment, no time to learn new skills if you are getting a bunch of your work, managing finance, hard to find work, work-life balance. All these challenges, if I see, the most important in Pakistan is the perception of freelancing. If I will quit my job and I start freelancing, the first question which my friends and my family will start asking, Guy, you are doing nothing. You are staying at home and doing nothing. Oh, like this person is idle. He's just sick of, like, he's doing nothing. That perception. And sometimes it becomes so insulting that this demotivates you. So when we are starting the freelancing, we should have keep these challenges in mind, that these challenges will be there, and we will manage this with our strong will and our self management. Work in isolation definitely is when you are the one who is doing the time management, you are doing planning. In the offices, there is one marketing department, one time HR department, finance department, and here all in one, in you. So this is you who has to discipline your work in a way that you can manage your work, and you have to keep yourself motivated. Different time zones is very, very important. So we have to schedule ourselves. If suppose I choose UK as my market segment, so I have to schedule my day according to the UK timings. So I will be available whole time there when their business hours are, and we can work, we can respond to the client, and we will be like active, and we can grab our opportunities there. Okay, so we already see the freelancing challenges. We see the platforms. Our portfolio is created because free tools are there. Now we have lots of work. We get lots of projects, and I only solely cannot handle. So what I have to do here, should I ask my husband, or should I ask my wife, or should I ask my friends to help me? Yeah, this can be an option if they have the same skill set. But if no, then we have to hire another freelancer or make an agency or team. When we are making a team, there are few problems which come. That is managing a team, handling any kind of conflict, lack of trust, or communication barrier. For this, we have to reach our freelancer in this way, that we should have a very strong synergetic relationship. So we have to very much clear with our communication. We should have a defined terms, maintain the equity, maintain the respect, come prepared, address the easiness. So our conversation should have everything which can result in, which can avoid any kind of conflict, and which can build the trust. Sometimes it's not that I want to mention here that I will just getting the project which has my skills, require my skills, like accountancy or analysis or reporting on consulting. Sometimes maybe it's a package I'm receiving that I have to do, probably the business re-engineering, or I have to do business transformation, or I have to suggest some strategies in which I have to involve some IT specialist, or I have to take the services of lawyer. Then you have to search who the best person is, and you have to be very clear with the scope of work, how about the payments, the deadlines. These all things are very important, and here your management skills will work, how you will manage a teamwork. So that is the continuation of my previous conversation, that when we collaborate, when we have double workload, they are multitasking. So it is shortcomings are there. It is very difficult to get the decent talent. So please start looking at the resources or the skill set which can be attached to you, so you can give a combined offer, or you can give a compact offer in which lawyer services are there, IT services are there, and your own services. So this is the time when you can find the resources and you can have a collaboration with them. And collaboration is another topic which we can address later. Not today, because today is a freelancing. So we have to be very much clear that we stay in cost, within our cost, we stay in our deadlines. Deadlines are very important. Everybody has to meet. You have to be very careful and very polite with your communication, so you can have a very managed work and timely delivery. Here are a few tips for the virtual team management, because freelancing is something you are not going to meet in person. No time. We are saving time to go and have in-person meetings. We are doing everything virtually. So you are the person as a leader who will keep motivation of the team higher. You have to use maximum utilization of the technology so you can save time. You have to make realistic expectations. Don't expect that you ask a lawyer about tax consultancy and you said within 1 hour you are giving the report. Check that how much time that person can need and he can give you the report. Set the targets and goals. Trust and motivate the employees or your co-workers, co-freelancers. You have to be very much good in your communication skills, because how much polite tone is, your work will be easy, because respect is something you have to keep in mind. You have to be proactive, because if you will not be following the deadlines, or you will not be having a communication with your co-freelancer, that what is the status, do you need any help from me, can we work? So these are the things. And when he will say that, yeah, you are concerned, you are proactive, and if your lawyer or the other professional service provider who is your co-freelancer, if he is giving best of his services on time, please recognize the achievement, because you need these services in future. And best collaborations are where recognition is there. So freelancing best practices. What we have to opt, how we have to opt. Before going to best freelancing practices, I want to discuss here one thing. The platforms which I discussed, those are all top rated platforms. But as a beginner, I will suggest Google top 15 less popular freelancing platforms, or top 21 less popular freelancer platforms. I have identified a few. There are Career Gig, Skip the Drive, Cloud Peep. I'm sure you guys already know, because Glassdoor is, I see a lot of emails and stuff there. It's not the freelancing platform, but you will get an opportunity to give service there, because they are the clients sitting who are looking for the services. And likewise, you just need to search and you can get a database, that rather than to moving to a highly fee charged platforms where already a big bunch of accountant freelancers are there, start with the freelancer platforms who are not very famous or who are new, where you can explore, where you can get your skills ready, or where you can get the experience. And then you can jump from getting experience from there and a small clientele there, you can jump to the top rated freelancer platforms. Freelancing best practices. Time management. I am again and again saying you that if you will not manage your time, if you will not deliver your work, how the quality of your work is, how much you did this research work, how much hard work you have given, how much blood you have given to yours, it will all go wasted if you will not deliver your work on time. So time management is the process of planning and exercising conscious control of time spent on specific activity to work smarter than harder. So I am saying you, my favorite word here are work smarter than harder. So it will help you to efficiently do the time management. It will help you timely delivery, your quality will be improved, you will be more productive and efficient, because if you are rather than having procrastination, everything like, okay, I will do my work tomorrow, this part I will do after 3 days, rather than avoiding this, you can have more productive and you can give extra service to them. Like I was looking at one article that was about a writer, that when he started his freelancing services, he started writing the blog. And what he was doing, that he was they always give you a word count that you have to write in 1,000 words or 500 words. So what he started giving a very attractive visual and a very attractive title of that article, which can attract the readers. So this extra service or its extra effort start getting him to get the best ranking or the 5-star ranking from the owner of that website. So this is something that rather than we will delay our work and we have the stress that, oh God, I have to give timely delivery, otherwise I will lose the client. It's important that we timely complete it, we plan it, and there are tools, time management tools are there, and these are available, free available. If you will just look at the time management tools for accounting works, you can get on the Google. So there are tools, you can check that, you can plan your work and you can have a track of your work. So rather than following the workflow, you can improve your work by saving your time, by giving some extra skill set or giving some extra service to your client. And I am sure your client will be happy and you will get another opportunity from the same client, or that client will give you a referral. So the time management and communication protocol. A communication protocol that provides a structure for requests between client and server in a network. An effective client communication depends if you have already established your business rules, which we have already discussed: business plan, marketing strategy, pricing strategy, schedule, what is your time frame, uh, this all, and then schedule your routine client communication. This is very, very, very important in freelancer. Client really wants, because he is not meeting you in person, so he really wants that what is the progress of his project. Maybe after 1 week the freelancer will say, I'm sorry sir, I am unable to complete your work. First, you are spoiling your own reputation and you are disturbing his planning. So he is very particular that you keep him informed about the progress of your work. Consider the comfort time zone and self correct. Before going to end this presentation, I want to add one gift here for you, that is winning project proposal. Uh, when you are giving your bidding and you win that bidding, the stage will be where you have to give your proposal. That proposal should be very much effective and efficient, because that is your first proper communication with the client. There is, I will say, recommend here one tool or one application, but there are lots of applications available. There is one application available that is Bonsai, Bonsai. It's a project management tool in which you can manage your time also, and it creates your project proposals also. So what you have to do, you have in your proposal, you have to introduce your skills, you have to give your approach to the project. You can give some examples or concepts about the project. You can add images, visuals, specific elements about the project, so the client will know that you have a very good skill set or expertise about that project. And you have to quote with the time frame of the completion. So, and in the end of that proposal, you have to give a reason that why he should prefer you in comparison to the other freelancers. So I mentioned you here that there is one, maybe I will just write it here. Bonsai. I can't write with this, but I will try. It's Bonsai. 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 So we can use that one. So the key takeaway, my favorite for any service or any work to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. If you will see these are key takeaways, I'm sure that it will give you a very journal concept what the freelancing is. It's not an impossible task. At the end, I will recommend it's your dedication, your hard work, and your motivation that where you want to reach. In our words, I will say it's your mission, it's your vision, and your position where you want to see in future yourself. So freelancing is just like you are doing a startup, you are giving your services, but you can earn recognition, you can earn more than what you are earning with employment. And best of luck. If you will be having any questions, you can email me. I will try to answer, but please mention in the title Freelancing and Share Services webinar, and you can send me the questions and I will try to respond as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir. Mr. Adnan Khokar, I'm done, and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Fozia. Thank you for detailed insight on all the relevant areas of the subject. I must say a very comprehensive presentation. And that's why a lot of members are demanding the copy of presentation, which I'm sure we'll be able to share. So, dear participants, we will now proceed for panel discussion, and you can write your questions in Q&A tab, and I'm sure our moderator will also put some questions to the panelists. The session will be moderated by Mr. Adnan Hamid Khokhar. Mr. Adnan, over to you. Please introduce yourself, our distinguished panelists, and proceed the session. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, and very blessed Ramadan Kareem. Pandemic has changed every walk of life. Bankruptcy, shutting down of industries, significant decrease in economic activities, and drastic changes in business processes and the models, which have changed the whole world. On the one side, we have seen that there is a tsunami of unemployment. People are losing their job. But on the other hand, this pandemic has also created opportunities. Our keynote speaker has shared a thought-provoking presentation on the freelancing and shared services, which anyone can opt and get a solution for his professional and financial problems. Today, we have an august team of experienced panelists to discuss the practical implications. Our first panelist is Mr. Malik Harun Ahmed. Our chairman has given his introduction, and I'm just asking on the cake and just adding to his introduction that Mr. Harun has more than 28 years of experience in corporate compliance, consulting, taxation, audit, business and financial consulting. He has vast experience of providing advising, consulting service to local and international clients through freelancing and shared services, and also looking after a very advanced technology company. Our second panelist is Mr. Naseem Akbar, who is a fellow member of Chartered Accountant. Mr. Naseem has retired from EY for us, and he has more than 30 years of experience. He is a office managing partner in Mazars & Co. Mr. Naseem has also worked as a consultant to the task force constituted by Government of Pakistan for re-engineering reform to automate the tax services in Pakistan, which was a project of World Bank. Our third panelist, Fozia Safdar. Fozia Safdar, she is a certified blockchain expert and holds certification in blockchain strategy and regulations, information technology, project management from University of Oxford. Due to the importance of this webinar, we have requested our Vice President, Mr. Ali Latif, to please join us in this session. So we just getting through the chat box. There is a number of questions which are addressed by the practicing member to answer. Thank you very much, Mr. President, and all the panelists.
Thank you.
The internet has changed the philosophy of human capital working. Work is now working across border through freelancing and shared services. Pandemic has changed the working environment to work from home, and freelancing scope is enhanced gigantically. My first question is to Mr. Harun. So how freelancing and shared services could help and make a difference for practicing member and the professional as start of their career. So over to you, Mr. Harun.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would say that Ms. Fawzia has presented his presentation very well, very excellent presentation. And secondly, coming to the question, you are right. Professionals who are leaving the organization and they are going to start their profession as a job, or they are going to start the practice, or they are in the initial stage of their practice, they normally face the problem that if they are going to pick the client, it takes two to 3 months. Then they get the assignment, it takes 2 to 3 months. Then the billing time, then the collection time, it takes, like if somebody is starting the practice, it takes like 6 to 8 months to get the first payment. And this kind of problem creates this kind of problem are being faced by the professionals who are at the startup stage. Freelancing give them opportunity to um, get the remuneration easily, and so so my point is this, that in this case they have to go and opt for this. For this, there's the opportunity is this, because when I have started my own practice, I have used this, and it has helped me a lot. And how we can go for that? There are two ways. There are in the local market, in the international market. As Ms. Fawzia said, that if we go to the local market, we have to see who are the person who identify us, who are the our networking persons. We go to them and talk to them and find the and inform them we can provide the services on freelancing basis, and from there you can get that assignments. For this you can have to go to the social media network, and you can go Facebook, you can use the LinkedIn, and you can go for the LinkedIn premium also. And the other way, for international networks, you have different ways. The first thing is the websites, which are giving you the platform for the international freelancing. The Fawzia has given the list of those websites, like that is Upwork is the most important, then the Fiverr, then the Guru, then the Freelancer. There are lots of a long list of that. If you go there, you can start there, and you can find the your assignment. She has already described many things, but the point is this: when you start, you are a new person there. You have to place your profile, and you have to select who are your competitors. If we see India, if you go for Bangladesh, they are the people who are best. They can provide very cheap in accounting, and then best part where you can work is you can go for the reporting side. You go for modeling, business modeling. You can go for business plans, and this kind of work you can do, and the tax opinions. When I started, I have got also opportunity to work with an organization which appointed us as a virtual financial controller, and we were working for their 3 offices in Taiwan and the Canada and the USA. And this helped me in the initial months very much, and that the regular income was coming, and we are managing a team and doing with that. Likewise, I would say that the first thing is I said that you opt for those websites and go with that. And second part is I already told the social media platform, you use them, and accordingly from LinkedIn you can pick the clients and you go there. And third is the last one is the SEO. If you go for your own marketing, your own, then the search engine optimization, this kind of work you can go, and you can find the clients. But it is very important that for startups, if they want to go with that, because their financial uh, strength, they will be confident with that, they should opt for it.
Thank you very much for such a detailed answer. That this is how the freelancing could help at the start of the practices. Technology has evolved, and now information is available on internet and considered as the vulnerable to loss and theft. My question is to Mr. Naseem. Sir, how confidentiality of client information can be maintained and ensured in this technology environment? Over to you, Mr. Sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Basically, my experience is about handling audits in Pakistan environment. But when we come to the use of technology and go for this kind of work, which is like freelancing, I believe there are two aspects of that. One, we need to train our team, and we are required to teach them what the confidentiality is, and they should not talk about that. Although Code of Ethics has described all that in detail, but for that, there must be a domain which we should own and we should have, and all the communication should be done through that domain, and nobody should be allowed to use Gmail and other IDs which are not that secured, as we need to have confidentiality. And we need to set up a protocol within the organization and need to sign up a document with the client with reference to communication of information to the team and all that. And while discussing with prospective clients, we should not disclose any kind of situation with reference to our existing client or the previous client. Okay, what were the areas and what were the issues? We should keep all those confidential and should not just discuss the ability and the scope of work which we provided and or we are used to provide. Engagement letter should be very properly, or agreement should be very properly drafted and should have appropriate clauses for that confidentiality. And need of disclosure in case we are required to make a disclosure if any such situation arises in case of litigation or any other thing, that should also be very well written in that particular agreement. All the and the data which will be used to receive for funding services should only be accessible to the relevant team. Other staff in the organization should not be allowed to access that kind of data. And when we disseminate information, we should be very much sure that that is not incomplete, and what we are talking is complete information that should be disclosed. Even at the end of the relationship, we should not be allowed to disclose any such thing with reference to that client. We should protect the information, or if there is a need to clean up any kind of data storage site, we should clean that up and evaluate the circumstances where we are allowed to speak out about the situation which we have handled. So in my personal opinion, staff training is very much important, which is required for providing such services.
Thank you. Thank you very much for such a detailed answer, that we need to be infer the protocol, the security protocol, to safeguard the information of our clients. And you rightly said that we can add the NDA or agreement for engagement. So that communication is an art and an essential part of professional growth. Pandemic is a pace to ongoing social and economic changes such as remote working and online collaboration across all the professions around the world. My next question is to Madam Fawzia, that how important communication skills are for a freelancer and a professional. How do you answer it?
Thank you, Mr. Coker, for asking such an important question, because communication is something which is the key factor for the success of any freelancer. as I mentioned in the presentation as well, that freelancers are not going to meet in person to the client or not have in-person meetings. So this all depend on the communication skill of the freelancer, that how he or she will attract the client, how he can retain the client, and how he can create more opportunities. The communication is actually at three levels. First one is your project proposal, which I discussed before, that if your project proposal is not focused, targeted, efficient, you cannot attract your client. So that is your first communication. And as I mentioned, that communication is something which your client is expecting throughout the progress of the project, because you are not meeting in person. There is a bit shakiness of the trust, that I will get the work or what is happening. So that you have to inform through your communication, through the telephonic or video conferences, that this is what we are doing and this is the stage of the project. And finally, at the completion of the project, if you are getting the feedback and then you are giving further concepts or further analysis to your client through your communication, then you can get further work from that client or you can get referrals. So communication, I would say, is the base brick or foundation of freelancing. If you are good in your communication skills, you can have a success sooner or later. And eventually, if we see nowadays, interpersonal skills or communication skills become an essential element which every employer or any enterprise expect from his employee or any entrepreneur. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Communication is a very essential part. Data analysis has shown that there is a huge potential in freelancing for developing countries. My next question is to our worthy Vice President ICAP, Mr. Ali Latif. They said, what steps can be taken to ensure a sustainable freelancing and shared services growth in Pakistan? How do you, Mr. Ali Latif?
And thank you, Fawzia, for an excellent presentation. If you can just repeat your question, Adnan.
So what steps can be taken to ensure a sustainable freelancing and shared services growth business in Pakistan?
With regard to that question, let me tell you that there was also a question about marketing, which we're going to address something later on. The institute is actually cognizant of this new development. And as you might know, that our syllabus coverages always includes tax compliances, corporate law compliances, bookkeeping, etc. And that is already covered in our syllabus. However, this new field of data analytics is going to be covered in our new syllabus, the Education Scheme 2021. And this is something of the back-end knowledge that we hope to be provide to our future chartered accountants. Similarly, ICAP is considering for a platform specially designated for chartered accountants to provide their services to our any client that is in Pakistan. The reason why I'm saying this, we have already had an in-house research and debate on that issue. The level of work you can get from freelancing, from Fiverr, etc. Normally that is more on the skill set based rather than the knowledge of your clientele or specific knowledge of Pakistan, etc. And it's going to be a highly competitive environment in Fiverr or Upwork or anywhere you go. And the chartered accountant has a very special skill set, and it cannot be considered same as the normal skill set of doing valuations or even doing of book entry. That is actually the most of the work that is there on such freelancing platforms. So Institute is going to be developing that, and we are actually working with it, and we are going to start another chartered accountants entrepreneur, and we hope that the institute will be doing it. And you have to understand two different things as well, especially the cons that Ms. Fawzia has raised. Do not assume that the work-life balance issue would still be there in freelancing. So don't expect that. And there will be no more vacation days away from minting money. So do understand that before jumping onto this bandwagon of freelancing. Freelancing for most of them people, and especially for the chartered accountant, that do understand could be a good source of second stream of income. That is what we have, because you as a chartered accountant are normally not involved in bookkeeping and other things. You're mostly involved in decision making, and now you normally become a business partner. However, what we feel that with this new platform that we want the ICAP to be introduced, along with some changes in law, some of the, with the ever changing, it will be more of an outsourcing of the CFO function. This is what I think we are heading for chartered accountancy. We like to call it outsourcing CXO function. That would be, I think, the next step would be, and the institute is working on it, and inshallah they'll be asking, and I think going for a formal discussion on this same with members, and after their feedback, this is something we'll move forward for. And the another benefit that is hidden is there, it will actually provide a lot of opportunities to our CA women who are in mostly in their own household, and they've got that requisite knowledge, and they just need to find a suitable platform in which they could even become quality control reviewers of services being provided to some audit firms. So we are trying to find that niche for chartered accountancy, and we have got very, actually, a lot of opportunities available in Pakistan. We just have to do the platform and take care of the confidentiality issue as defined Mr. Naseem Saab, and hopefully we'll be on the right track then.
Thank you very much, Mr. Latif, that our institute is proactively looking at these areas. We have observed that with a rapid growth in IT services in Pakistan, the lawmakers are also making the rapid amendment in the laws and the other compliances. My next question is to Mr. Harun. How recent amendments in laws could affect the freelancing and shared services business in Pakistan? How do you, Mr. Harun?
Yes, about the taxation regime of freelancing or IT-enabled services. Earlier, the law was is that income from these services are exempt from income tax, and PRA or provincial sales tax is 0% because it is considered as export of services if you are providing it internationally. And now the law is amended, and now everybody who is providing these services will be allowed 100% tax credit. For that tax credit, they have to comply with certain things. They have to file their tax returns. They have to file their withholding statements. They have to withhold taxes, and their income will be subject to audit like others, and their payments will be subject to withholding tax audit like others. That's why earlier they are enjoying no probe area immunities, and this area was not under the radar of the FPR. Now FPR have started looking at that, and now if you want to claim that 100% tax credit, you have to follow these all things, and you have to proceed accordingly.
Thank you very much, sir. That this is a significant change in the tax laws.
Another thing I would add that for startup, there was a provision for startup, and there is the law that if you are a startup first year and the next 2 years, you can get the exemption. Same kind of 100% tax credit is now shifted there, and for the first 3 years, they have to get this 100% tax credit by following and enjoying by complying with all these obligations.
Thank you very much, sir. This is a significant change we have witnessed, that the lawmakers are also making the law. Maintaining client relationship is an important tool in the success of any business. Retaining customers always been a challenge. My next question is to Mr. Naseem Akbar, that what skills an accountant or freelancer needs to develop to retain its customers? Over to you, sir, Mr. Naseem Akbar.
Yeah, I would say it is true in all cases where in business we need to retain customers. And I believe we do have two types of customers. One is internal and the other is external. Internal customers are our team members, employees or staff. And as it is said that leaders develop people and people develop business. So there is need to have satisfied and trained staff. Staff retention policy should be very clear, and there is need to retain staff to give a consistent quality services. We must be very much personally involved with the customer and with the staff to ensure continuity of the business and retaining clients. Should be always available, honest in our opinion. Skill set, we should keep enhanced technology and skill sets. And there must be a two-way, very free communication. There need to give timely delivery of assignment, which will speak about our quality and our ability to deliver. Then, first of all, we need to understand the expectation of the client, and we should try to exceed the expectations of those clients. So having knowledge of different ERPs or accounting software is very important, and we should have that and then concentrate on some particular field and provide service to clients through that. And through that, by training staff and maintaining staff, we'll be able to retain the client.
Thank you very much, sir. This is very important that for maintaining and providing the quality of services, that you need to maintain your employees happy. Due to the evolution of technologies, we are now talking about artificial intelligence, IoT, big data analysis, cloud, and ERP. My next question is to Fawzia that cloud computing is the future. How could technology could affect the professional growth? Over to you, Fawzia.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coker. That is a very important thing. That is a question which is under discussion in all the accounting profession, that cloud accounting is there and the accountant scope is reducing time to time, but this is just a myth. Cloud accounting is a database source. You can access the data remotely, but accountant's work is already there. Before data accounting, cloud computing or cloud accounting, accountant has to go fetch the files, look at the invoices, looking at the documents to give his analysis or the report if the employer is asking for, or if the client is asking for. At the moment, with this advancement of IT, they just have to remotely access all the document, invoices, and reports they want, and they can give a stress to the analytics on the skill which they are sharp enough that they can work on the analytical reports, or they can give their analysis, or they can respond the queries in no time. So all the time, actually what is happening, human dependency and administrative processes are finished by cloud accounting, and your skills are there which need to be utilized, that how you are analyzing your data, what is the requirement of your client, and you can remotely, with less use of time, you can give the answer which is the requirement of today's time. Because most of the projects or most of the clients you can lose if your decision is not on time or frequent. If you are taking too much time, you are spoiling your reputation, and eventually you are making your client unsatisfied. So cloud computing is there to help us. It's not to replace us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a time that we need to equip ourselves and learn the new skill set to face this challenge. There are a number of services that can be offered by an accountant. We have learned and witnessed in the presentation of Fawzia Safdar. And now the role of accountant is changing from the traditional role. It is now turning into the business partnering. Business partnering is considered to be the future for accountant. My next question is to Mr. Ali Latif, that what changes ICAP introduced through its curriculum and training which could produce good business partners? Over to you, sir. So you are mute.
Okay, Dan, thank you. I think we have already covered that we will be seeing a substantial changes in the upcoming educational scheme. But do understand that if you remember that we held various CFO conferences on this very same theme. The idea was to change that dynamics that you are moving in from a traditional accountant towards the business partner. And then if you remember, I think with the Northern Regional Committee, we held the technology conference as well, approximately around 2 years back. And hopefully once we are get rid of this COVID, hopefully you'll see seeing a lot of new conferences, and we'll try to make up for the shortfall. But what the idea with regard to business partnering is, if you remember, we have also done a lot of soft skill for our members as well. So ICAP is cognizant of the fact, and you'll see that in our upcoming, especially education scheme 2021, in which we have put in data analytics, we have put in another special course on this. And I think it was more of a change of a mindset that we needed between our members to come out of that traditional audit role and just trying to point out mistake, and then changing that more towards that partnering aspect and being more of a team player, and going along with the team to meet the objective of the company. And that mindset the institute realizes not now, but even a couple of years ago. And for that specifically, we arranged many workshops, we arranged many CFO centered themes around this, so that the people can have that difference view on that, and they can try to change themselves as well on the business partnering side. And apart from that, to tell you that this is one of the main questions that is asked by the multinationals in any interview of a chartered accountant. They try to gauge you from the start whether you are going to be a business partner, or you are going to be just someone who's be pointing out mistakes. Otherwise, they'll just keep you fitted into the internal audit function. And now, unless you prove yourself to a business partner, you do not even move around various departments, which is something that you lose in. So that is kind of transformation I think all members need to look at themselves. And the institute is always there, and we would, I think, go for a special seminar on this again with our chairman, Mr. Rafkat in Lahore as well, along with Mr. Janzeb Amin Saab. And I think we'll try to cover that as well once again.
Thank you very much. This is, we need to come up from our silos, and we learn and actively participate as a team member in the organization. Due to FATF and AML, regulators are putting restriction on foreign remittances. Freelancers are facing problems in receiving remittances. My next question is to Mr. Harun. So what platforms are available in Pakistan to receive our remittances, the hard-earned money, sir? Over to you, Mr. Harun.
Very good question, Mr. Nan. Point is this, that if we are working on international websites, they collect the money from the client and they keep with themselves, and then they ask from you where you want money. And if you mention that you want to receive in your bank account and you give your bank details, they transfer the money to your bank account. The first option is this. The second, if you have a PayPal account, you can use that one. And if you have a Pioneer account, you can use that one. There are lots of other channels also, like Zoom is there, MoneyGram is there, Wire Transfer is there, and Ria Money and the TravelX. Lots of channels are there. They can be used. But as you are aware, or maybe most of you are aware, that PayPal is not available in Pakistan. And the freelancers are using mostly, and almost 90% of them are using the Pioneer. And the recent case of the Pioneer, which is everybody have seen from the public media, that FBI have started investigation against the Pioneer, that Pioneers have transferred money and the freelancers are getting money, and they have tracked all that. And they are of the view that this is not a foreign source, this is not an export of services, and they want to tax it. And secondly, they are looking at the freelancers, that the freelancers are not disclosing their income. The matter created a big problem for the freelancers and the IT market, and the people are in trouble. State Bank has to take the steps, and State Bank has to see that this is a very growing big market, and they have to take up initiative to solve this problem. Recently, the State Bank governor have said that they are going for the digital currency, This is a big change, showing a big mindset change at the SB State Bank level. If this kind of thinking they are moving on, they should also think about this fund transfer issues, because everyone is looking here. They have to open their companies in UAE, they have UK or England to receive to open the bank account. They have to transfer money there, then transfer money here. This kind of problem people are facing, and this problem can be solved by the State Bank by taking initiative and allowing these companies to come and provide service to the freelancers in Pakistan.
Thank you very much, sir. That you rightly said that this is a growing market and there is a lot of potential. We can gain a foreign exchange and bring it into Pakistan. For a successful business, team management is an important tool in the success of any organization. We are now living in an advanced technological era. My next question is to Mr. Naseem. Sir, how team can be managed virtually? Over to you, sir.
As it was mentioned by Fozia that there are different tools available for team management, and those can be used to manage the team. However, there's need to define the way of working. There's need to set the protocols, okay, how people will work, and what will be the template, and what will be the scope, and that is need to be very clearly defined. If possible, all the templates should be clearly defined, so team should not make any adventure, and there should be a less chance of any misstatement or misunderstanding. Secondly, there is regular needs to be should be have one should have a regular meeting with the team, and to and monitor the progress. Deliverable should also be very clearly defined, and preferably the working hours should overlap, so that there should be a good communication between the team members, and they can work accordingly, and there should be a overlap of hours with client also. One should try to create a professional work environment with that team, and should not be any casual behavior. Everything should be defined well, and there must be a system of having video calls with the team at regular intervals, so that things can be explained and synergies can be achieved. Lastly, the management tools available should be used, and timelines should be defined for better management of the team.
Thank you very much. This pandemic has evolved that we need to re-engineer our processes, and the organization, they are just transforming their processes, business processes. So we have seen that the organization put restriction on their employees. They are not opt any other job while they are serving with them. So my next question is to Ms. Falsia, that how can the balance be made between freelancing and the day job?
Well, I thank you, Mr. Coker, for asking this question. This is very important, actually. I will just take 1 minute extra to add something regarding to my presentation before, that to avoid any kind of financial risk, and to avoid any kind of inconsistency in incomes or demotivational factors, our suggestion for a beginner to start freelancing is to start it as part-time, not as a full-time, because you are in the learning stage and you have to cope with all your responsibilities and financial things. I'm sure it will address one of the questions who Ms. Shanze Afrin asked. Yes, a full-time employer can do the part-time as freelancing. So there are a few things we have to check to keep a balance in our day job and freelancing. First, very important thing is to check, is there any conflict of interest? So you have to check again. Usually there is no habit of reading the contracts and agreements. When you get a very good job opportunity, just sign and say that this is my salary. And we don't spend time to look at the terms and the conditions. So this is the time when you have to check all those terms and conditions. If there is any restriction that you cannot give the services which you are giving to your current employer, yes, you cannot give those services as a freelancer. So here is an opportunity which is waiting for you. Look at other services, because accountant, as our VP Vice President told, that is a full package of accounting services. So check which other path is open for you as an accountant and where you can explore. Like I love to do drawings and paint. I can do that. I love to do writing, so I can do the writing work for accountants. So this is not which will affect my employment agreement. So first, very important thing is that we have to check that our current services agreement is not affected with the services which we are offering to our as a freelancer. And the other question there is asked, yes, a practicing member or the accounting firm, there is no restriction for them to register, the partner being registered there at the freelancing platform and start giving the services. There is no restriction from the ICAP. We have a justification for that. There are restrictions, as our Vice President told, regarding the marketing, which they are going to address. Now to Mr. Khokar's questions. I'm sorry I take 1 minute extra. So you have to be sure that there's no conflict of interest. Now you have a day job and you have your part-time freelancing job. So rather than to do a lot of freelancing job, be selective with your project. Look at the project which will give you a recognition, which will improve your skill, which will improve your learning, and you can potentially grow via profession and financially. You have to set 2 career schedules. One is your job, day job, and one is your part-time freelancing. You have to check all your timings, your family time, your social time, your rest time, your office times, and then you have to check that which timing is comfortable when you will give 100%ly to freelancing activity, because as I mentioned that you have to be responsive on time. If you are not responding, you are already losing any chance of getting opportunity. And last but not least, time zone. Select the time zone which will not affect your health, because if you are healthy, you have healthy brain, you can work both jobs simultaneously. So check the time zone of the country with whom you want to work. Is it matching with your day job? And check when you can do it. So my preference is, as the beginner freelancers, please start freelancing as part-time. Try to continue with your day jobs. And when you see that you have good expertise, you get good clientele, or you get referrals, then is the strategic decision when you have to make, you have to switch to day job or you have to switch to freelancing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fawzia, for such a detailed answer. That being a professional, it is very important to maintain our professional integrity. For a growth of a business, marketing is an important tool. And we have seen, being a practicing member, ICAP has imposed restriction on its practicing member not to market their services. I know this is the severity of the question that our worthy vice president is just looking and smiling. So I would like to ask Mr. Ali Latif to please, sir, go for this and enlighten us on this very important issue. Over to you, sir. So you are mute.
Thank you, Dan. I always had somehow it was always there in the back of my mind that this question will come up even when I saw the brochure. So I thought to better get prepared for it. And to tell you the thing, this is one of the pain points I think most of all our chartered accountants feel. And we have a seasoned chartered accountant, Naseem Akbar Saab, with us, and we will definitely taking his views as well. But first, I'll tell you what the law is, and either I'll just read it to you as well. That as a chartered accountant running a firm, irrespective it's a management consultancy firm or an audit firm, you cannot, I repeat, you cannot solicit clients or professional work either directly or indirectly by circular, advertisement, personal communication, or interview, or by any other means practicing of the nature of advertisement. I am the one who is having heated debate with the ICAP for I think about a year or now, because I want these kinds of restrictions to be removed. But you do understand that ours is a very traditional profession, and it has been the way since 1961. And I think the world has changed since 1961, and this is the right time when young people are coming in the council. That is, we should need to somehow weigh the risks, and probably these kinds of restrictions need amendment. They may not be fully changed, but I think we need some kind of amendment in which we might impose some kind of restrictions with regard to the audit practice. But similarly, for other practices, which includes freelancing, shared services, or outsourcing services, or bookkeeping services, that is that is something I think the institute should really take it up. And I actually want to make a request. And as a chartered accountant, I'll say request. Otherwise, I would, if I've not been a VP, I would have asked you. I would actually asked. I would like to make an appeal to all chartered accountants to do raise this issue with your council members, because this is something that needs to change. There are definitely some reservations along with it, then, because we don't want our profession to go to that level that you will find chartered accountants sponsoring calendars and diaries, which we see in some other profession as well. So we have to make that advertisement kind of a thing in which we have gone for a wholesome way, that we have said any kind of advertisement should be banned. I think the cold email that Fauziya also gave in a presentation, that is also a professional way to do it. Having a professional group, having to solicit clients through your profile in a very decent manner, these need to be allowed. But the law as of current date, it actually bars you from doing any kind of advertisement. And the problem which I think any chartered accountant who especially goes into a new practicing firm faces is there is no bar in any other profession. And this is something that actually causes a huge, I think, disadvantage to our members. And I think this needs to be removed. I won't go into detail that some of us still do market one way or the other, but still I think this restriction needs to be removed, and that is, I think, where the members come in. And I would request you to even go to the extent of emailing all your council members that you have elected, and ensuring that they hear your voice, because this is a hot debate, and I've been trying to champion for the cause to at least lessen the restrictions, if not totally remove it. And we can always have those restrictions for an audit practice, but we are also facing some kind of technical difficulty in the matter, because you see the practice license that is issued, that is for any kind of practice, that is not restricted to the an audit practice. So there are other proposals on the way, but as of now you cannot do it. But let me be very clear that I have gone into the law in depth, and you can also contact your institute. Creating a profile and people rating you as such doesn't go into that marketing kind of a thing. It's just like you have a website, and the person who knows your website will go there. So marketing means actually trying to pursue clients, going for unsolicited emails, going for a mass general emails, such sort of a thing. So that is something you can do, because I think the time came in when a lot of people made some Facebook groups, etc., of their own firms, and this, you have to see, this was not a marketing ploy. It was just taking the benefit of the latest technologies. Previously, it was a profile. Now it's a website, and now further you go, you get yourself registered on a platform, and you just put in your profile. That should not be construed as marketing. So let's hope for the change, and I really hope that we have got a huge participant with us, and even I think 50% of them take up this cause and write an email. You will see some quick action from the council. So let's see if our members really want that law to be changed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ali, for such a detailed answer that we really appreciate that the institute and that some council member is also feeling that the heat of time. So there are a number of questions. We have there our audience are asked, and the most.
But Nan, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
There's one small request I would make directly to Mr. Naseem Akbar because he was partner with one of our top firms. They don't need to market, but he's now one of our. He's also joined the profession. I want to hear his views because does he feel coming in from a big four firm and now when he's an entrepreneur himself, what kind of marketing that a firm should be allowed to do, because his would be really a first-hand knowledge. Ji Naseem sir, your views would greatly help us and even the council.
Ali sir, thank you very much for such high words. But as you earlier said that for audit work, there must be some restriction. And I would say yes or no, both. Okay, if we allow marketing of our services, so only those who will be having financial muscles or technical expertise, they'll be the winner. And perhaps you won't be able to encash the capabilities and skills of anybody. Then this is the negative side of that. But what I believe that we should try to make our own brand, although I'm not, Shabbar Sahab was criticized by this, but as I had discussions with you, I always said that Hamid Chaudhary and company, Razaman and company, they are, in my personal opinion, purely local brands, and they develop themselves to a level where they are boardroom name and earning good respect. Basically, what we are selling our skills and knowledge. And we should not enter into any such game which will lead us towards price war or any financial muscle war. Should be allowed in a manner that we can achieve both. The prestige of the institute or the member is very high and very highly regarded. Unfortunately, nowadays with the different commission reports and all that, we are being criticized and we are facing a lot of challenges. And this is the time to look towards the integrity of the profession and of the chartered accountants. In my personal opinion, right now, the time we are passing through is not easy for the profession. And the kind of practice we are selling ourselves at a low cost or doing different things, that needs to be taken care of rather than doing anything different. But if I go towards your point, whether we should be allowed to advertise or not, so then certainly for other services, as it was previously in the in practice, that we were used to form private limited companies, which were subject to almost same restriction which a chartered accountant firm is having. And those private limited companies should have some sort of liberty to publicize or advertise or go for their advertisement, all that. But this time, I feel that we must convince our members for obtaining quality control rating, for charging appropriate fee and delivering quality. Because the moment we people are seeing in the market probably is the worst in the history. So I'll request that you must work on that, how to enhance image of the members and of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. My apologies, perhaps I could not reply your question in a way. Perhaps
No, thank you, Naseem sir. But you did reply, and this is some of the your views are shared by a lot of other council members as well. But this is what my idea is. I want that debate to be generated among the members. What Naseem Saab is saying carries a lot of weight. I've also had that discussion with other members, my fellow members as well. I have a different view with regard to what he's saying, but I personally feel that none of our chartered accountants is going to go and hire a very high profile model to act, and that's why the financial muscle doesn't matter. You can have a good brochure for yourself, but what he Naseem Saab is saying carries a lot of weight, and I think that is something the members should discuss among themselves. I'm with you for lessening the restrictions, but we do have to pay heed to what Mr. Naseem Saab is saying, and then whether there should be any restriction on the, because if there's no financial restriction as such, then you can go for a very low cost thing, because then it will be a cutthroat competition as well. So I think this is what seriously members should think about, actually where we want a profession to be. And this is, I think, the debate should move in. And I think this is where, and once you make up your mind, then do I've already cleared my position, but definitely keeping in view and heeding to the advice of Naseem Saab as well. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. I'm highly obliged.
Thank you very much, Latif and Naseem Agusa, for such a wonderful question and answer. Sir, I would like to thank all the panelists, the Vice President, North, and with that, I would like to end my session and heading over the control back to the chairman of the session, Mr. Rafkat Sen. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Adnan. Thank you for such a wonderful moderation. Dear panelists, thank you very much for sharing some really insightful thoughts and bringing out what is relevant on the topic. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient. Our apologies to those who posted questions, but we could not answer your questions due to time constraint. Now I request our Vice President, Ali Latif Saab, for closing remarks. Ali Saab, over to you.
Thank you, Rafkat. Has been a very wonderful seminar today, and I think it really helped us. Especially thank you, Ms. Fawzia, for giving a brief on this issue. And with regard to shared services, uh, it is currently the buzzword as such right now. But to tell you the truth, when I was in industry, the shared services concept came to Pakistan Tobacco Company that I used to work in way back in 2006 and 7. Because what multinationals do is once they grow to a special extent, then they move towards cost cutting, and then they start moving towards cost cutting, and then the concept of shared services came in which the group companies formed a single unit for shared services in which they served the whole group. And I don't know whether most of you know, one of our star of our profession, Mr. Imran, is actually the CEO of Telenor Shared Services, a company that is in based in Islamabad for the last 10-15 years, and he was one of the pioneers that started off with shared services in Pakistan, and it was very much a successful venture, and it still is. And this is something what the world is moving to, and I think we have had a wonderful discussion on this, along with the debate I want to start on that marketing thing. And I will grateful that, Rafka, that you have had such a wonderful session where we got some word of wisdom from Naseem Saab along with Haroon Saab and his discussions on the taxation impact. However, one thing I would request all my members for having such a session. I think there should be some concrete outcomes from such a session. And I would request Mr. Rafka to do take back feedback from your all the participants, and maybe you can write a council to so that this debate with regard to loosening of marketing restrictions could be initiated, and especially requesting ICAP to have its own platform, at least for Pakistan companies on firms, so they can come in. And one appeal I would like to make to all the bigger firms, including represented by Janzeb Amin Saab, who has always served the profession, and Naseem Saab along with it, that the bigger firms should try to encourage this kind of freelancing, and if they could give out very small assignments using ICAP platform, if they so feel comfortable, or their own platform, in which they can give out assignments for review based assignments, other assignments to our young professionals, so help them earn a second stream of income. That would be so great, and it will be serving the profession and building the capabilities of Pakistani chartered accountants as well. And then they can slowly move on to the international aspect as such. This is something I think the bigger firms should look at into it, and we'll be requesting that they could either do it on their platform. For example, the audit file, because now mostly it is done through audit software, it can be remotely reviewed by any chartered accountant, and it could be mostly done by even women chartered accountants. So even these small assignments, I think irrespective, the people would do it just because they want to learn the tricks of the trade, and I think money would not matter to them as much. And this is something we should teach that thing and start putting the seeds in the ground. And once we do that, rest assured, I think our profession has got so much growth that we will really moving into this freelancing, and then slowly we will be giving advices, other things on the freelancing, rather than the normal bookkeeping and other assignments you see on various platforms. We will be moving much beyond that. And to tell you the truth, slowly I think the tax profession, if you see, because of the various technological changes they have made, in apart from just going to the tax office for some hearing, or otherwise some have been now, there could be a chance that there could be something of a, frankly speaking, contactless tax. Even there could be a future we are talking about having video conferences with the tax officers. That is something which has a huge potential, and the tax department is already moving it. And Mr. Haroon can also say that there could be, you could just go, they already got an online system, you can type in their replies, you can attach evidences. So a lot of work would be going online, and this kind of freelancing thing would always be there. However, one word of caution I would like to make: there's a difference between freelancing, there's a difference between entrepreneurship, and there's a difference being called self-employed. Don't confuse self-employment with freelancing as well. So that is something you should be all concerned about in it. And I think I don't want to dampen your spirit, but Fozia is laughing. She already knows, probably knows what I'm talking about. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I really want this forum to actually start this debate on the marketing side, and this is very important for the profession. And moving on to the next thing, ping he to no doubt Naseem Saab's advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, VP sir. I would like to extend my special thanks to our distinguished keynote speaker, Fozia Safdar, our worthy panelist, Malik Haroon Saab, Naseem Akbar Saab, our moderator, Adnan Hamid Khokhar, our chairman NRC, Shahid Iqbal Khattak, my colleague at NRC, and our brother Jahandeep Amin Saab, our vice president Saab, for taking time out of your very busy schedule and joining us at the webinar. I'm also grateful to all the panelists, to all the participants for their patient hearing, raising questions to make the session interactive. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Inshallah, we'll
Thank
meet
you,
you.
Jazeb sir, for joining us. Thank
Allah
you so
Hafiz.
much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, everyone.